Hi everyone, welcome to your Moon in Aquarius reading. We're going to be taking a look at the dates of August 1st to August 3rd. And as you know, we also have a full moon scheduled for August 1st. So yay! If you've been feeling all sorts of types of ways, please understand that it is a very heavy time right now in terms of energetics, in terms of astrological influences, cosmic influences, and at the tips of our tongues, we understand that anytime we have a full moon, that just like the oceans will rise, so will the oceans within your, energies, your emotions, your shadow energies, things like that. And so during full moons, it's really a ripe time to experience fear. But as the full moon starts to decrease, of course, then so does your fear start to ebb away. And that's usually because those emotions that you usually walk around with, that are usually deep-seated, are kind of going back into their little crevices. So the idea is, as they arise, to really do your best to process them in whatever way is best suited for you. Also, to not take everything at face value, not to take things personally. Sometimes for some of us, if you have a lot of water already in your chart, good Lord, right? Then it's like a deluge. So in such cases, it's very important that if you know that you tend to be somebody who gets very sensitive around these times, any full moons, especially the water full moons, when the moons are when the moon is in the sign of Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, anytime if your emotions get away with you, just know that during these times it's always a good idea to give yourself a little bit of retreat, so that you're not allowing yourself to kind of spew. Also, if you struggle to control your emotions, to self-regulate, things like that, and if you notice that you don't have good tools in place to really avoid hurting people during these times, it's good to really find a way to have healthy coping mechanisms and processing. And it's just, it lasts for a few days and then, bada bing, bada boom. I also want to let you know, as you may well know already, we have a major portal day coming up around August 8th. So many people affectionately refer to this as the Lion's Gate portal. But again, everything should be about tuning into things for yourself. And so I hear this term all the time, and I believe in portals. Let's put it that way, because anytime I get clients around certain times of the year, I notice that their energy is deconstructing, going through some type of doorway, and then coming out the other end and reconfiguring and recalibrating, and almost seems like re-digitalizing. It goes through a de-digitalizing process, then zoop, then out. And a lot of times I notice clients will come to me heavily around these times, unconsciously, of course, and it turns out because their spirit team is asking for their conscious assistance, and so I'm there too, in taking action steps to allow for them to not contribute to keeping their energy stuck in any one place. Because at those times you really need to be able to surrender. You need to allow your energies to morph, because that's what's happening. You're just morphing, and you're being like a little bit like a wormhole, not zapped into, but sucked into and redeposited sucked into some type of opening and redeposited into your correct timeline, or the more appropriate energetic conditions for you at that time. So this is literally what it means to shift. All right, so right now we're in a major time of shift. So if you've been really feeling it, I just want to let you know, super hugs, boop. Okay, and also to let you know that it's only temporary. This too shall pass, and energetic cycles have been around since time immemorial. And to be honest, your astrological influences, in other words, the movement of our celestial bodies, which are so strong in their energetics that they literally affect us here on this planet, that's just what it is. It's not people making stuff up about, the stars and Aries is doing that. No, and it's not like, the saying, what did I say? Frogs and snails and puppy dogs' tails. That's what little boys are made of, and sugar and spice and everything nice. No, it's Pluto and Neptune and the sun, and that's what you're made of, right? So Aries, Pluto and Aries and blah blah blah. And so it's very, very important to understand that when you understand the energetics of your natal chart, all you're being given is a weather report of how the energies, what was the weather like when you were born. We already have a lot of science showing that weather affects temperament. It affects the development and evolution of not only consciousness but also culture, right? So it affects the body. So when people don't understand the realities of astrological influences, the best I can tell them, because a lot of times those people are just unwilling to budge a little ideologically, and it could be to a detriment. It's the best way I can say is that it's an energetic weather report. And so just like you wouldn't go and plan a whole wedding during a blizzard, you're going to check what the weather is projected to be like on that day. And if you want to understand how a culture has evolved, and people who have PhDs and they write books, and major researchers all around the world, if they need to work and understand how things are today, they look back in time to understand things like the weather and how that influenced things. It's just plain old simple. And so just as you wouldn't just make moves without checking your weather if you're planning to be prepared, so it follows that it makes sense to keep an eye on what's happening astrologically. And it starts by just making sure that you have a natal chart to understand, and then maybe booking your time with a reputable and an awesome and friendly and kind astrological person. I'm not trained in astrology, although I do perceive of the energies and whatnot, because at the end of the day, these are just energies, and astrology is one of the systems that we have, and there are many different astrological systems, but one of the systems that have developed throughout societies over time to help us to explain energy that is at play. But please understand that it's not the only way to understand these things, but you have to get started somewhere. Now, why am I explaining a lot of this? Well, I'm getting from the collective that some of you are going through some really, really tough times, and right now, and it's understandable that you're going to have an experiential experience of it and a reaction to that. And in other words, you're in the trees. And sometimes it helps to understand what you're going through from a cyclical standpoint, also from a more macroscopic / forest perspective. And so when you work with your friendly local readers like me, hi, and healers like me, hi, we can assist you. Also, if you work with astrologically trained people, they can help you. If you are in need of assistance with managing physical symptoms, of course you have your medical doctors who can assist, but in order to really better understand what's going on in the physical body, of course you would like to reach out to those medical professionals who work on the non-physical bodies. There are different levels of the bodies, as you well know if you follow this channel. The guides are really trying to remind you of that. And so it's good to help with the physical body, but at the end of the day, you will be managing symptoms that are basically manifesting because of a root problem that is only existing at its root in a non-physical body somewhere. And the guides are chiming in, thanks guides, to say, oh my God, what did they say? Oh, I'm so sorry, it was so quick. so I gotta like interrupt myself when they say it. What did they say? Yeah, I think they said past lifetimes. Yes. Past lifetimes have a lot of origins for these things. They're also reminding us, thank you guys, about core principles. Your core beliefs are literally, and whether you want to believe it or not, literally what is creating your physical maladies, accidents, in fact, your entire lifetime, your reality, your reactions, and it's deep to that point. So the point I'm trying to say is, if you're going through some things right now, I just want you to know it's okay, it's temporary. And one of the ways that you're being called to step into the reality into more of the reality of your multidimensionality at this time is to start understanding that, very simply stated, you are more than just your body. Okay? So if I were to summarize what the human species is being asked to do in this age, at this time, is literally to expand their consciousness so that they can get out of the dark ages and see literally more of reality. But in order to see more of reality, you are going to be asked to tap into your non-physical senses, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, your clairvoyance, your clairgoustiance, all those things. Why? Because your physical eyes, we already know, is very limited, and your physical senses in general are very, very limited. And so in order to accommodate for our limitations in our physicality, we turn to technology. And so we move at a certain pace in terms of understanding our world based on the advancements of technology. And of course that splits off because what we think of as advanced technology that the layman can talk about is nothing compared to what is hidden somewhere in some lab, in bunkers, in governmental places, whatever. In other words, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. You will only at this level of your consciousness and as part of the normal, whatever, population, only have access to a small piece of the pie. And so here's my question, 11 minutes, 22 seconds. Why wait? Why wait for the powers that be that control the flow of information on this planet? Why wait and then control your access to things? Why wait for them to decide when you can get a little bit more of technology to understand who you are and your experience? Why do that? Instead, just sit somewhere quietly, connect with yourself, because you are actually the prototype. You are the energetic vessel. You're the Merkaba. You have all of the information from just seated where you are. You can heal the physical body if you garner that much belief. So the biggest problem humanity faces is their belief system. 12 minutes, 12 minutes, 12 seconds. It is always going to be about your beliefs, because your beliefs are what are creating your reality. But if you're struggling to see that connection, then you know a good jumping in point. That's your research. That's your homework. That's your point to understand. So we don't, when we're handed information, it's not always about, well, you need to make this understandable to me before that's some backward stuff. That's like, I only believe after I see. If that's your category, seeing is believing, then what you're doing is you are casting your lots into somebody else's coffers, basically, and you're waiting. It's pure social contract. You're giving up your right to accessing what is truly yours for free, and you're giving it to somebody who's going to, in return, charge you for it, in return, tell you when you can access it, in return, tell you how to access it, in return, probably not define it properly. And you're going to move at a snail's pace to understand things that a lot of people are around the world have been getting a long time, right? But have been discredited. But by contrast, what you can do is you can say, you know what, bump that. This is Aquarius energy right now. Bump that. I'm ready. I'm absolutely ready to see what I can know for myself. Yeah, I've been told this, I've learned this, I've got this degree, I've got that degree, I saw this guy on TV, that expert, blah, blah, blah. That's all well and good. But it's time for me to go outside, stand up, close my eyes, feel the sun. What does that feel like? How does it make me feel? What is it doing? And am I open enough to understanding that whatever I'm perceiving of, some of it will of course be coming through my physical body, but there are other perceptions that I'm receiving that are through the non-physical experiences, and I may not even be aware of what that is. You know, you hear the voice of your angels and guides on a daily basis, but if you don't understand that and it's been with you since birth, how can you discern what's yours and what isn't? And you see us a lot working through the therapy system and different types of healing modalities, trying in desperate ways to understand how our own psyche is fragmented, and how we're hearing the voices of our own harsh inner critic, our own wounding, our own trauma, our own, inner saboteur. And we're using different systems to understand this. The system of archetypes, we're looking at attachment issues, we're looking at behavioral, maladaptive behavioral theories. We're looking at different systems. These are discursive ways of getting to an experience that we're having. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to you understanding that you are the phenomenon. You are the phenomenon, baby. So you are it. And the minute that you decide it's time for me to sit down and through my own self and everything that I'm capable of doing, whether I believe it or not, whether I've ever even been able to conceive of it or not, whether I've heard of it or not, if it's conscious or unconscious, there is a lot for me to learn by my inner journey. And when you really get on that path, you know where to find me, but don't come if you're not ready, right? We're out here, serious inquiries only on this channel. But until you're ready to really do that self-inquiry for yourself, you're going to always be accessing it by proxy. And that has its time and place. But this is the time to step more into self-exploration, self-authority, self-understanding. This is not a call to be irresponsible. This is a call to expand your mindset. And that's the opening statement that the guides would like to say. Thanks, guys. Oh my God, they're so sweet. Okay. Anyway, so let's jump right in. God is good. And the invitation is always there. As has always been from the beginning of time, the call is always there. It's not ever going to be that the call is not there. The call is always there. The question is who is ready and or willing to hear it. And of those who are ready and willing to hear it, how many are capable of making that journey? And that's just all there is. We're all seeing the sun, right? We're all in this valley. Let's make it a valley. I don't know. And we see the sun rise and fall over the hill. But how many people will actually have the thought like, oh, what's going on over there? The sun disappears on the other side of the hill or the mountain, and what's beyond there? No one knows. Well, I don't know, but I'm going to set out to find out. And everyone's like, you're crazy. You've got commitments. And what are you doing? But nothing ventured, nothing gained is the point. And I will say this, your journey forward from this moment on is not an external journey. If you make it an external journey, as the status quo is, you will continue to do your laps in the same realm, and you will wonder why you're suffering. Let's put it that way. If you are ready to take that step, and whatever color pill it was that they asked you to take, blue or red, who cares? Because even that is a discursive construct, right? It's a tool for discussion. But when you start to understand that the inner journey is one that is self-led, it's directly led by self-inquiry, and it's answered by self-response. But who's the self that's responding? Your higher self. But you have to generate the curiosity. Ask and it will be answered. Plain and simple. If you're asking and the answer's not coming, it's not because it's not coming or it's not there. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It is more that you have to take some type of action within yourself to remove whatever blockage is there, whatever fear is there. A lot of people think that things are blocking them from their dream career or whatever, and they don't realize from an energetic standpoint, it is their own fear of what? Success. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? Success, right? Or fear of being killed, or some type of resonance that is still in their field from past lifetimes. And so they keep it small. And so they manifest all sorts of blockages. Just as the minute they get paid, then something breaks down and I have to put their money out, right? That's not about the world. That's about you getting in your own way. If you're curious about how I'm doing that or why I'm doing that and what level of the field am I doing that from, then you understand that it's about you starting to look inside the engine. What's the engine? It's you. And that's plain and simple. So either you accept that and really start that journey of self-discovery, and from an open mindset asking, well, how am I doing this? As as opposed to like, well, this can't be true. Why would I do this for myself? Why would I do it? That's all some old school stuff, right? And we're in that new. These cards fell out. What are they? Yep, gracious receptivity, healing. That's what we're about on this channel. We're not here to lollygag. You know, do you. Do you. Solar chakra. Core of creation. Who's the creator? You are. What? Oh my God, I love these sleeves. Aren't these cute? How am I? Oh, look. Oh my gosh. Yay. Look at the colors. Amen. Here to, oh my God, I was going to say here to heal you. And look at what she's doing. Exactly. I'm always, listen, I am just sitting here waiting for whoever's ready to walk through the door. And that's the way it is. We're not into pushing people because that's just not, I'm not that interested in connecting and pushing for those who aren't ready. It's just how it is. This is my medical healing card. Look at that. Speak it. Trust in the plan. Thank you. Something's coming in here. I want to see what that is. Ooh, 6th ray of devotion. Look at that. This is exactly what they're saying. If you want to do this, this is up to you. It's always been up to you. Karmic clearing. Oh, that's what's coming in. Dark night of the soul. Oh my gosh. All right, let's take a look. Invitation to connect, of course. Of course. Let's, and I'm seeing 1, 2, what are these cards? Yup, reassurance of the golden light. If you're ready and you ask for it, it will come. Reassurance of the golden light. First of all, take a look here. Here's the light coming in. There's you receiving it. Look at this. This is you reassuring that you're going to receive it. That's you having received it. And look what's right under there. Once you receive that which is yours, it's the healing that is coming forth from you, for you. By whom? You. So your energy healers, hi, and all of your integrated medicine healers, even your medical doctors, we're not out here doing anything that you're not doing for yourself. We're just the different hands for you here. You know, some of us work in the non-physical bodies, and some of us work in the physical body, right? But we are here to be the hands for your instruction to give you the healing. 22 minutes, 11 seconds. Healers don't heal people. We have energetic auric fields that, for whatever reason, 22 minutes, 22 seconds are capable of creating the conditions for healing for you. So when you step into our auric field or we work together, what's happening is you're kind of cutely stepping into a field, and in that field your higher self works with our higher selves and our spirit teams, and the energies can be expressed. So just think of it as, I don't know, that's what a lot of specialists are here for, okay? Anyway, now I want to let you know that what I'm seeing here in the cards at this time is kind of good. So some of you are really going through it, myself included, but since June, I gotta keep it 100. Since June, so at this point, I'm just like, what's next? We're out here. What do you guys want? You let me know. Coffee? You want me to, move? You want me to get out of this job? You want me to throw away my entire bed? What do you want from me? And I'm just at the point where I'm just listening, because you get on board with the shift. And as I said that, I could just feel my energies like zoop, like I said, de-digitalizing and getting ready and packaged to move into whatever oracle, that's the word that they're saying oracle, but I was going to say whatever portal is here. So long story short, these portals are the creation, there's so many words. The conditions for the creation and the openings of these portals do happen based on, the way the energies are flowing across the world, and it's just like water and air, this flow, right? And, every now and then we'll get a tornado somewhere, or we'll get a hurricane or a monsoon somewhere, right? And so it's kind of the same thing. They'll open up. And the question is always, hello, is anyone ready to kind of zip in or not? And if you are, it's open for you. It's only open for a certain time, and you let us know. But everyone is going to be feeling upheaval, because it's like this massive vacuum cleaner. Zzz. I love how I'm saying that, but there's actually somebody making some vacuumy sound outside with some motor. But it's this massive thing. So everybody's shifting on some level of their field, multiple levels of their field. We can see it in society and we feel it in our own lives. But the question is, how far are you willing to go? How much of your old stuff are you willing to pack up and get rid of? How much of a timeline that is at your optimal, operating at your optimal vitality and well-being would you like to attach to? You tell us. If you're getting into this portal and you're basically elevating your, I don't know, where some people, I don't know, evolving, I don't know. It depends, right? I've never really seen that, but who knows? But for those of you who are shifting through this portal, where would you like to go? Now the question, where would you like to go, is not answered by your conscious mind. Your energetic field, your Merkaba, your auric field, all that stuff will determine where you will navigate to or be navigated to, right? But how does it determine it? Well, it's literally just based on the energetic frequency that your energy field is holding or not holding. Right now, she's vibing brightly. Why? Because she's allowing her energies to shift. She's releasing, which is no longer necessary. She's drawing boundaries. She's doing her prayers. She's probably eating healthy, changing her diet, whatever she's prompted to do. Look at what's happening and look at the mirroring here. Because why? She's responding to the stimuli. Things are picking up, they're hurting, people are saying stupid stuff, she's feeling the squeeze, and so basically her stuff is coming up. And so the question is, what does she do with it? If she chooses to stay in a darkened state and it's woe is me and now I'm nihilistic and now I'm this and I'm so depressed and I'm just like lashing out at everyone and I don't want to do my work, and then you're energetically not going to be vibing at the vibration that, let's say, this person is, or no, let's change that. You're not, well, no, let's keep it. They're saying, okay, you're not going to take advantage of the opportunity as much as this person has taken advantage of. And don't worry, you will have other opportunities. It just means that now is not your time. But you will shift in some way. But if you're surrendering and you're allowing people, places, things, situations, ideas to leave your life, you're not making it mean anything about you. You're not piling on the guilt and your shame and all this. You're not getting into your victim consciousness. You're not succumbing to your poverty consciousness. You're not playing the martyr. You're not out here being the scapegoat and allowing yourself to get gaslit, or even more, you're not out here doing that to other people because you don't have positive and proper emotional control, right? You notice maybe during this shifting time that you struggle with dysregulation. So you're taking action steps to make changes. Why? So you can change that. So the point is, that's the call. The call is to heal. What is healing? Changing your perceptions. It's always going to be change in belief. But how do we get to, I'm hearing the word graduate, how do we graduate to having changed perceptions? You have to become aware of what you're doing. Look at your reactions. How are you reacting? Where throughout your day are you not feeling comfortable? What about your life do you not like? Look at all the people in the company that you keep. Are you proud to say that's the company you keep? Look at yourself. How are you acting? Many people have a certain myopia where they just see their actions as being very self-explanatory. It makes sense. It's just, well, he said this to me, and so I thought and this guy, and well, I'm about the patriarchy. I'm about taking down the patriarchy, and yes, time and place. Right now is not the time and place. Instead, go a step further. Look at the reaction. A lot of people that are spouting discourse, whether it's, I'm not even afraid to say some of the discourse that's out there. Just look at any popular social media on either side of the spectrum, conservative or liberal or anywhere in between. And I will tell you, from an energy healing, energy worker standpoint, it's just trauma. You are hearing and seeing and experiencing the vocalization of trauma. But how many people are stuck in the vocalization of their trauma. And what are their modes of doing so? We talk a lot about armchair theorists. We talk about a lot about, SJWs who are just at home tweeting. They're not doing anything. And then let's look at the people who are doing stuff. Is it constructive? Is it coming from the heart, or is it just coming from the wounding? At the end of the day, regardless of how you choose to serve on this planet, go a step further. The point is, wow, I just got emotionally dinged in some way. I got upset. I got confused. I got whatever it is. That's an emotional reaction. Clock that you've had an emotional reaction. Try to understand it. Where is it coming from inside before you even go outside and like, he did it or she did that, or this is the patriarchy, or this is just anti-LGBTQ sentiment, or these people are racist, or all of this exists, yes. But at the end of the day, if everybody, regardless of what they've seen, what they've experienced, what they've heard, whether or not they've even had personal experiences about it, but are tweeting and retweeting it, at the end of the day, you stop and you ask yourself, and you notice, I'm having a reaction. What is it? Feel into it. It's my inner child saying something. Where is this coming from? And if you don't understand, it's okay. Start to understand. Get educated on your triggers. Get educated on you, your issues, because your issues are playing out in your world. We're all sharing this world, but we are not having the same experience. You can live right next door, or even live in the same household with a family member or friend or whatever, committed partner they're saying, who has a very different reality, 31 minutes, 31 seconds of this world. You both could have gone through the same situation, even the same disadvantages, and have very different reactions, very different responses. And I understand that if you're not working from an energetic understanding, you're just in there with your trauma, you're reading the discourse, you're looking at the political pundits, you're looking at the victims, you're looking at what's been written, you're looking at the information and how it's not being said from a proper way, or how these people are too emotional, or these people are not looking at the statistics, or at the end of the day, this is what that is, okay? If you're not grounding yourself in an understanding of who you are, and you're not aware of what you're doing and how you're being, then you're just moving from reaction. And then if you're just in this place where it's like, here's my victim story, which is understandable, the victim story has a time and place in the healing process. But if you're stuck in your victim story and you build an entire career or life or experience of everything, of reality, from your victimization, and then you're teaching victimization, and then you're moving through the space as a victim, you don't realize what you're doing is you're furthering the energy of low self-worth, victimization, disempowerment, things like that. And so the question then arises, well, how can I tackle these major issues where people have been decimated? People are dying, people are being hurt, people's lives are being thrown off. In other words, trauma. How can I process, how can I fight for trauma? How could I, the first thing that anybody, whoever picks up anything should do, whether it's a pen, because a pen is mighty, right? Or a sword or some other whatever, or a hand to soothe, you must understand yourself. Why? So that you can understand when you're acting out of your trauma and you're dysregulated. And so when you can understand that you're acknowledging your trauma, you're using your tools, and you're doing your best to see everything through a trauma-informed lens. I'm just still waiting for the world to really step into trauma-informed everything. Not just a trauma-informed workplace or the trauma-informed school, classroom. It's the trauma-informed household. It's just something that needs to be done. Otherwise, you're just going to be spewing pain, and you're not really going to be doing the inner work. And I'm just saying that because when I'm working on the field, that's what I'm seeing. And I've worked with people who run organizations, whole sexual assault organizations, people who've written books on these topics, on all sorts of topics, people who've been to hell and back in their life. These are the clients, God bless you guys, that are walking through the door. And then, of course, we've got, still traumatizing situations like, oh, my relationships, or I'm not sure who I am. It's a whole gambit, whatever. You get the point. It's a whole spectrum that's out here. People, speaking of spectrum, clients coming in with whatever issues going on in their physical, but when we look at the mind, it's very advanced. The synapses are not, it's evolved, right? So these are things that are going on right here and right now. The question is, what role would you like to play in your future? Are you going to move from a place of understanding who you are, checking yourself at the door, and calling in more of an awareness of the reality that is around you? What is the reality? Multi-dimensionality. It is not just the cards you see here. It's understanding that these cards are reflecting an energy. They move, they shout, they yell, they cry. These are just energies. When we have flowers, you can't see them, but they're over there. They're emitting energies, right? Even this card has a certain energy. Why is it that if someone places a reading with me, I don't need their name? I just get the order and it just has their email and I can pick up on their energy. If someone gives you a business card, you look at it, you can pick up on the energy. So these are the things that would be so helpful to start moving towards honing in your life. Why? Because it is definitely along your path of your personal evolution. And imagine a world that is more in tune with its self. And what's that self? It's heart. That's the direction we're moving towards. But until you start to disconnect from making outside authorities your personal authority, outside institutions, gurus, this and that, all of these have a time and place now. They're no longer the central character in your life. Why? Because you have evolved to a point where now you are capable of really looking at yourself as a common denominator. But the thing is that the self that you're going to be reflecting on is so much more than you could even fathom. And in order to see more of that, again, you've got to disconnect from the, how can I say it, the principles, the philosophies, the ideologies of limitation that have been set by your normal institutions, because they're very, very much mired in physical reality. But you're trying to move out of that space to be more multidimensional. It's just literally moving from this to that. That's all it is. This to that. This to that. And it starts with you. And let's see what else I was going to say. There was some stuff the guys were going to say. So I want you to know, so some of you at this time, you may have been really feeling a lot of heart issues. When I'm saying heart issues, I'm talking grief, guilt, shame. Some of you may actually be experiencing issues in the chest area where at the physical level of your experience, meaning you may have like been having shortness of breath, you may have wincing pain, some of you may be just, it could be as simple as getting a little rash on your chest, or noticing that, wow, I keep like banging my shoulder, or I keep scratching my chest and I didn't realize it. And these are the flowings of that heart chakra area. The heart chakra is undergoing some very, very, very deep healing, and the guides are saying you're being asked to recommit to things in your life. And when I say recommit, I don't mean like, oh my God, my ex just popped out in my mind and that must be a sign. No, that's some old world thinking. We're not in the sandbox anymore. Just because someone pops into your mind doesn't mean that's a sign for you to go in that direction. That, if anything, means there's an energy frequency that is close enough to your conscious mind for it to pop in there. And it's wearing the form, person, place, thing, situation, idea, of somebody you recognize from the conscious mind perspective, your ex. But it's not about your ex, and it's never going to be go back to your ex. It's never going to be that. So if you are watching any readings or going to any energy healers and they just keep telling you, this is your person, that's your person, this is your person, that's your person, you need to really ask them to clarify to you beyond that. Like, okay, so you're saying you're giving me a form, you're giving me a name, you're giving me some information about somebody I know. Tell me more. What is this person representing? Because let's get rid of the person. At the end of the day, the truth is this energy that is just wearing the mask of a certain person in your life, whether it's romantic or not, is just reflecting back to you an energy that is already extant, I would say that, in your own field. But because you're not able to perceive of it through yourself yet, because we're like here, that's the whole point of learning to get quiet and being with yourself so you can start to feel it. Until then, you are experiencing it in others. And you will keep experiencing the same frequency in others. Why? Because the frequency is yours. Whether this person's name is Billy or Jeanette or, you know, a god or guru that you're projecting onto, or it really doesn't matter. It's you and you. It's always been about you. The question is, can you see that it's you? Because learning to understand how can I put this? Because learning to differentiate self from other is a mark of, no, let's change that. Learning to see yourself as the common denominator is a mark of maturity. When you're constantly in the blame, that's more a mark of like, I'm starting to reflect upon something, I'm still feeling the pain from it. That's understandable, because again, you have to tell your victim story. You have to get your story out there. You have to feel it, embody it. Why? So that you can feel the energies and the emotions and do the necessary self-soothing and processing and understanding. But you shouldn't get stuck there in the he said, she said, or they did this to me, and if I weren't blah blah blah, then I would have. Because at that point you're still out there and you're not in here. And just simply stated, if someone gives you a pencil, it's up to you. All they did is give you a pencil. It's up to you to make that mean something. How they gave it to you, why they gave it to you, what their face looked like when they did it, whether you felt offended because you needed a pen and they should have known that. This is a lot. So that's just a quick example of how you make stories up for yourself. We're all storytellers and we're all manifestors. Why? Because we're sovereign beings. And the age of Aquarius is asking you to disconnect from these outside things. The gurus, right? The institutions of learning and institutions of dear God, regulation. This is not to say that these don't have value. Of course they have value. However, the value that you have attributed to them is needing to be rebalanced. Right now it's just all over here, to the point that some people will kill another human being if another human being says they don't agree with the ideology being spewed from whatever institution or ideology this is in whatever society. And there's always going to be mainstream thought and people willing to die and kill for it. It's a reinforcement thing. But when you can understand that I can take back my power and have a different experience, 43 minutes, 33 seconds, then you're actively taking a step towards really seeing what's out there. I'll just say it that way. Really seeing what's out there. And then you can think for yourself. And then your non-physical faculties, which are really who you are and really what you are, your intuition, all of these abilities that you have by birth just been tapped out of or ignoring or deriding, keeping yourself out of or being conditioned out of, all of those get to finally start being exercised again. They get to come into contact. They get to excite you. They get to make you feel good. They get to help you to ward away dangers. They help you to think for yourself. They help you to stay healthy, right? Preventative medicine is the best kind of medicine until it gets into your physical body. Then we have to do something about it. Duh, we know that. But guess what? In this new age that we're in the way that you're being called, in the expansion that's happening for you ideologically, you start to reinterpret things. Prevention is the best medicine. Just as I said, that was 44 minutes, 44 seconds. Prevention is the best medicine. Preventative medicine is the best medicine. But you're going to have to redefine what preventative medicine is. It's not just an apple, okay? It's not just an apple. It's energetic hygiene, clearing, shielding, programming your field. It's learning about your energetic anatomy. What are the different levels of your auric field? It's bringing things into balance. You're not just your physical body, you're more than that. It's having the belief that is necessary. That's actually first. The belief that you need to support this. Remember, of course you don't remember, but who does, right? Remember back in the day when it was like major hunter-gatherer, long time ago, people walking around in the dirt, this and that, and we really relied on what do you call it? Tribes and this and that, and there's a certain level of trust that needed to be built. That was the medium. The medium was trust in order to have survival. So you trusted your family members in order to survive. You trusted the earth in order to survive. You trusted the, let's say, culturally derived relationship with animals in order to survive. And what did that give way to? That gave way to your organizations and your groups and your governments. It's a social contract in order to what? Survive. Oh my gosh, now I realize I need gas. The people in the other place, wherever they are, they have gas. And they need corn. We have corn. Now we must work together. And we're fighting each other, so we're going to go to this body to help mediate. So you see now how we're starting to build? But at the end of the day, it's all based on trust in order to what? Survive. You're going to have to change that whole mentality. Because now you're shifting to understanding, I don't need to have anybody really doing that anymore for me to survive this world. Because the world that I'm choosing to exist in is a more multidimensional one, where I can think better, I can feel better, I can see better, I can experience better. I live a happier life. I'm more fulfilled. I'm more connected to what matters. Doggone it, I'm becoming telepathic. Doggone it, things are just working out for me. I don't need the bank as much anymore. I don't need to put things in my mattress to hide from the bank anymore. I don't need to now, I used to trust, paying the taxes to help people. Well, now I realize, oh my God, the tax system was started by the Federal Reserve. Oh my God, the Federal Reserve is not a government body. It's a private institution. Oh my God, when it was made for this reason, because the U.S. government owed debt. And now they're basically having us pay the debt they owe to the Federal Reserve. There's so many things that we don't understand because we've been distracted, whether it's to just focus on beauty, focus on dancing on screen for 30 seconds, focus on over-caffeinating. Guilty. I might continue with that for a little bit. Right? We've been distracted. And on top of that, we're choosing to be okay with these things. We're choosing to have what used to be just a commodity. Wow, the Apple phone, that's a commodity, is now seen as a necessity. So this is the bait and switch that people go through. Why? Because they started off on this idea of needing to survive. And so incrementally, they've given away their power. And now when somebody like me, hi, comes and I'm telling you, hello, that's not the seat of your power. The seat of your power is in your energy field. Now people are deriding and they're like, this is woo-woo and these people are blah, blah, blah. And so it's almost like those people want to wait until the very institutions that sold them on these long generational ideas of an equitable exchange comes around and says, well, we're going to give you access to this information. We see it going on now with disclosure and extraterrestrial connections. As I would say, I would disconnect from that altogether, and you, standing under the sun, just ask yourself, let me think about it for a second. Do I want to make connection? And if I do, let me ask for knowledge to flow into my mind. When I wake up, I'll just know. I'll be tying my laces one day and information will drop in. That's how you work. You don't always have to go out and talk to this person and watch this news channel. You're just wasting your time. And I'll tell you that. You're just wasting your time in a very, very big way, and then arguing with other people when they disagree with the false information that you found somewhere else. And fear-based stuff. Get into sovereignty. Understanding your merit, understanding your birthright, understanding your power, and understanding, if I can say this, having gone to school for so long and having been immersed in pure discourse, let me tell you, there is value to self-exploration that does not rely on discourse. Even what I'm telling you, understand that I'm doing my best to speak to you of these things without discourse, meaning I don't have to go access this information through the discursive treatment of the occult, of esoteric knowledge, of religion, of metaphysics, of New Age, of science. These are discourses. Move it to the side. If you're trying to access something that lives beyond the realm of your humanity and the culture that humanity, the many cultures, God bless, that humanity has created, you must get into your faculties, strap into your energetic field, do your best to get rid of the extraneous things. Even just give yourself a month and go detox. Even go detox from this. I don't care. I'm not personally invested. I mean, of course I do run my business, but I don't get paid for any of these YouTube things that I do. I've never collected a penny. And by the way, I'm so sorry if you get commercials. That's not me. I've never enabled commercials on my channel ever, right? So just remember, it all goes back to you, and you want to connect with people who don't feel like they have to get anything from you in order to give you something. What I'm giving you is really just a reminder of something you already know. Consider this your wake-up call. The call is always there. If you've manifested this video and you're still here, hi, thank you. You're hearing the call. But the question is, well, does it sound like something that appeals to you at this time? Are you interested? If so, find a quiet corner. Of course, you can always reach out to me, but you don't need anybody to get started on your journey. Just like you want to meet the teacher who is intent on putting themselves out of business because they are teaching you. And they expect that one day you will outlearn them and move on to the next teacher. Please understand that I'm not trying to hold you to any whatever. It's if you come in, you come in. If you don't, you don't. But at the very least, you have access to this information. Crystal keys, repair. Okay? Don't even let us get started on your DNA. You keep thinking your DNA is in your physical body. Your DNA in your physical body will only move to the tune, it's only capable of moving to the tune of what's happening in your energetic field, because you have energy anatomy, you have spiritual DNA. It's time for you to tap into that, okay? And it's really just up to you. Assistance with access is exactly what I'm saying. I'm just here to share. I'm here to share wishful expectations. The question is, what do you want? What is your desire? I'll tell you what, if your desire is to evolve at an optimal rate for yourself, you will always evolve. Well, actually, TBH, I think sometimes we devolve. But that being said, nothing is wasted, right? Nothing is wasted. It's all like a drop in a bucket towards something. But if you're really willing to make that cosmic jump, if you look out and you're just like, I'm here in this room, I'm listening to Janelli Bean, ding, that's me, and I'm watching this video and I'm tingling in places. Keep the tingles to yourself, God bless, but we don't need to know locations, right? And then your curiosity starts and you're like, who else is in here? What else is in here? Hello? Anybody here? I didn't hear anything. Later on, you're, like, say a week later or 2 weeks later, I don't know, whatever. You just happen to be, filling up your car and you say, we're here. And you're like, what? Oh my God. We're here. And it's so audible. I'm telling you. The guides, you always remember your spirit team, they're trained professionals. Who do you think our medical professionals work with down here when they're doing their surgeries for hours, when they're doing these groundbreaking therapy sessions? Who are they working with? Are they just working with the brain? Like, we have exceptionally smart people here on this planet, but you must understand the physical reality is a carbon copy of a non-physical blueprint. So you when you speak about moving from a place of mastery, we're talking energetically speaking, you've created the conditions for you to access the level of mastery. Your integrity is in a certain way. Your intention is for service. Your heart is open and ready to serve, right? You've got whatever your spiritual know-how is. The reason why I'm saying spiritual know-how is because spirit can use you for mastery. What spirit? Your higher self. It's all you. Can use you for mastery regardless of what you have. If you can't read or write, doesn't matter. Mastery is possible for you. And if you have the desire to be a master in some way of service, it's there. The possibility is there. It's just us here at this conscious level. How much of a probability would we like to make this dream that we have? And that's up to you. What do you do with your desire? You can simply just say, give it to me, baby. God's like, all right, I got you, right? Show me what you can do, universe. Show me who I can be. Put me to work. For a lot of you, and I have to be honest, before we got on this call, the guides just dropped the S word. I don't want to say it because, we're probably already said too many terms for YouTube right now. Yeah, surprise, right? But there's censorship. But let's just say removing oneself from the planet. Let's put it that way. But they were saying that maybe at least there's one person who's feeling that way. As I always say, if you're feeling, well, I don't always say this, but whoever's channeling is saying it. My higher self, I don't know. When you decide for yourself that you have no more use for yourself, based on your mood, based on what's going on in your life, because people really have harrowing things happen in this lifetime. And, however it turns out, whether it continues here on Earth or off planet, it's always a testament of strength, right? To even be in the position to experience. That's why we should never judge. But I would say, if you ever find yourself in that moment, you just stop and you say, put me to work. Because right now, I'm done. So you show me what service you can have. I'm volunteering myself for you. Okay? And there, what you do is you give yourself a purpose. You don't give yourself a purpose. Spirit gives you a purpose, right? And I will just say this. What we believe to be our purpose, things like that, those aren't necessarily easy for us to assess down here. Someone will make an entire career as a philanthropist and think that that was their purpose. And it probably wasn't their purpose at all. Their purpose was something completely, well, they fulfilled their purpose, by the way, but they didn't know what it was that they were fulfilling. And that's what I want to say today about all of this. You don't know what you're doing at any given time because we're not in the Akashics, right? And also there are things that we're not allowed to see at certain times, even your friendly readers. I've had sometimes the team say, don't mention this to this person because the disturbance that it would create in their field would be too much. And sometimes they'll just make it very clear to me that there's some knowledge here that I'm not allowed to see. And sometimes I've even had to ask permission to gain access to certain things. So let's just remember there's a lot more going on. And if you hear the call, here's the voice, yeah, then please understand that you have it within you to make this jump. And speaking of jump, we do have the portal coming up. Woo-hoo. And so all really you need to do is surrender to the process. And that surrender is sweet. When we're ready to surrender and release and invite in, I would say, the Holy Spirit, which is not religious, okay? The Christ consciousness, which is not religious. It has been made religious by its term and association with certain religions, but it is not a religious thing. When we're talking about energy fields, it's different. And in fact, in a lot of traditions that we would not really see, maybe it's esoteric, it's hidden, whatever, they will reflect that as being the case. So please understand, don't get lost in the discourse. When you get lost in discourse, you get lost in the land of form. If you feel moved by something, put your hand on your heart and say, I want more. If something repulses you, put your hand on your stomach or wherever you feel the repulsion and you say, no more, please. That's it. So what does that force you to do? Get into your experiencing. It forces you to acknowledge what you're feeling, thinking, experiencing. And it asks you to just simply connect with your inner child and say, yay or nay. If yay, please more. If nay, no more thank you. When you create that no more thank you, you open up the realm for more of the yay to come through. It's very uncomplicated. Very, very uncomplicated. Don't go off into the discourse, but this person and that and the news and the holy books and the get out of it completely. Even in the Janelle, get out of it. Yay or nay. That's the level of self-connection and coherence that you're being asked to use at this time. Okay? Anyway, gots to go. You know exactly where to find me if you'd like to have any energetic work done or anything. It doesn't, no topic is too small, and clearly we see no topic is too big. So either way, God bless your buttons, and keep an eye out for upcoming astro reels as well. Okay? Mwah. Bye.